Good afternoon, everybody. I, Sneha, on behalf of NEN and Vadhwani Foundation, would like to invite you all to this webinar and also introduce our expert. Nagraj has almost 20 years of experience in impact ventures, investments, new ventures, merger and acquisition, strategy, product development, and sales. He was the president of CTC Software, South and Southeast Asia. NEN has chosen Naga as their senior mentor to be trained by faculties from London School of Business. Being a part of the expert panel at Tata First Awards, he judged many startups for these awards. He is also the member of TiE Bangalore and Atlanta chapter for many years and an enthusiast in its clean tech special interest group. Naga conducted workshops on entrepreneurship at TiE and Indian School of Business. He is actively working with numerous social organizations and served as the president of Atlanta and San Diego chapters for the Association of India's Development. Before I hand over the floor to Naga, here are a few reminders for the audience. You will all be on mute. You may ask the questions by typing in the panel provided. Over to you, Naga.
Hey, thanks a lot, Sneha. I'm audible to you. Okay? Can you hear me okay, everyone?
It's absolutely clear.
Yeah, excellent. Good. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. And today we're going to talk about angel funding. I'm sure some of you might have heard about it, so I'll just give my perspective. And I also do investment in angels through Indian Angel Network. And so when you look for funding, so what we look for, that's what we're going to cover today. And I think towards the end we have a Q&A, I guess. So I will go with my deck, and probably then after the end, Sneha will come and just start the Q&A session. All right. So angel investments, you might have heard these days this term is getting relatively popular because of what it provides, right? Angel investment comes in a very early stage and to startup companies. And today it is kind of considered as a new asset class from the investor perspective. So there are quite a few people are ready to come as an angels and opening their wallets, which is a really good news, everybody listening out there. It is also addressing a very big gap that's happening in early stage. So an early stage is where a lot of uncertainties, right? A lot of focus is getting ready and product market fit is getting ready. So that's where the risk is very high. So earlier the space has not been addressed very well. So the entrepreneurial ecosystem was not thriving. So today there are, as I mentioned, many angel networks out there. There are individual angels out there, so who are ready to fill in this gap, which is increasing the availability of funds to the entrepreneurs, as well as that increase the number of startups, which is getting funded. They could go to the next level and move on to, making bigger waves in the market. So in the typical network scenario, right, the investors, in the angels, so we just get a constant flow of deals coming through various sources, and they evaluate and then take a look at it. So I'm going to spend more time about what we look for, so I'll do that in the next slides. And what this angel networks usually provides is who are these angels? If you go to probably, for example, Indian Angel Network, we have close to 200 members out there, and all of them are been there, done that kind of running a bigger organizations or being entrepreneurs themselves who want to give back into the ecosystem, or people who are kind of different environments and different expertise. They want to just provide the expertise as well. So what then finally the network could provide you is not only the money and the time, expertise, and networks. So that's why these days you'll be hearing about angel money is kind of a smart money, because it's bringing in these connections. So somebody is getting funded in a network, you have an access to 200 people who could provide you with market connections, and with these connections, with this backup that you are supported by a particular network, it might give you a kind of boost in the market as well. So this is a one angle, and from the angel point of view. Okay. Right. So now I'm going to go deeper about if you're putting together a deck for angel investment. So I'm assuming that is the premise of this discussion. So I'm assuming you are in a stage that you may be interested in angel investing, and you're trying to understand what are all the things involved in approaching and what to put together and what these so-called angels are looking for when you approach them. So what do angels look for, right, when you approach them with a request for funding your venture? So the key element, or the first one, is the proposition, about a clear definition of what you are providing, right, a product or a service. And it has to be a very clear, if you look at these days, a company, a services company may be, older as probably 7-8-year-old company. If you talk to them, they all will say that, oh, we started with the vision of a product, but we need to survive. So we ended up doing a service, and so from there we'll take a fund and then start creating a product, right? This story we used to hear a lot, but guess what? After 6 years, they have not created a product. Because once you get into one mode, it is very difficult to steer you away from and do something else, right? So it's very, so early on, it should be very clear about, which is your spaces, and make sure that you stick to that, and then go about full swing, either funding or getting a product fixed, ready with the market. So instead of just let me start a stopgap arrangement with the service and then go to a product. So it's a big no-no. So just have a very, very clear definition of about where you're heading. So then about when you say early stage, some products might be developed, or you are kind of just validated an idea, but it has to be developed. So this both angles will come into play of very early stage investments. And then the third aspect is your customer. I'm a big believer of entrepreneurs not coming to any investment at all. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you could make without any investments from any angel or anyone, that is the best place to be in, right? So when you think of an idea, when you want to venture into an entrepreneur journey, don't look at that, okay, funding is my main goal, and if I get the funding, everything will be cleared. That is a big no. Make sure that you have a fantastic idea or something you develop, and you have a customer in the mind, right? Not an angel investor in mind or a VC in mind. You have to keep your customer in mind. So then if you have the focus, I'm sure you will have a very clear definition of your customer, right? So end of the day, if the customer has not bought into your idea, even if I fund, your success is not guaranteed. So it's very clear about defining your customers. Then the usual about why you in a market. If you may be creating a new market, or you may be going to target the market which is already crowded in some sense. So still, it's always there is room for someone else to play a role, as long as you differentiate, as long as you provide some unique service or a product that you're addressing that particular market. So then about where you fit in, right? So if your product or service is a nice to have, then you have a different challenge about positioning and creating a compelling value proposition to your customer in selling that. So it's kind of a longer cycle in getting a product out to the market. But if you're in the need to have segment, I'm sure the moment you open the shop, you're going to have people lined up. So it's very interesting to look at because this will help you to understand. It will help for us also your hurdles again about taking the product to the market, right? And if it is IP based and where you are in the patenting status, it's very, very important. Many people ignore that because of it's a little bit cost prohibitive. But sometime I can try probably Indian patenting, which may be relatively less expensive. These days there are quite a few avenues that are available, so look into that as well. So this is about the proposition, right? What you are offering and how you are unique in the market. So that's the first deck about the proposition part. then comes to your market, right? In the market, what is the space you're going to be operating in? If you look at today, many of the folks in the trending sectors where social is like lot and lot activities are happening, where it's all about traction, right? You may not have a paying customer, but you build something, you overnight you have a viral attack, and then you grow into million users following you or using your product. So just look into the market and how you are attacking into that. Is it a growing market like the latest trending ones, or is it not? Market is not growing, but there is a gap, right? So as I mentioned earlier in my earlier slide, there is always room for someone to make a difference in any market and any space, whether it's growing or not, right? So you may have seen many examples in the past. Google itself is a major example, right? When the search market was pretty much done and dusted, these guys came up with something interesting that it just opened up a whole new market. And the similar thing with the music industry, right? So all these guy did was put it in a ripped apart CD and then gave it to you one music or one song at a time, and then you open up a new market. So it's always a room for innovations, and if you bring in a okay, so I was told that the slide is not moving, so let me see what's happening. So I'm on the market slide now. So where we're talking about the large and rapidly growing market, or whether there is a market already there, and then look into the uh, innovation aspect of it. Okay, so I hear that you could see the slide now. Okay, good. Right. So then about your competition, right? So many times when we see in the early stage, people sometimes say that I do not have a competition, which is kind of very interesting. If you could achieve that, that's awesome. But always there is somebody out there, doing some kind of an activity. So make sure that you do a thorough check around the competition aspect of it, and especially I'm sure most of the people out there maybe in the IT space, that the space is moving so fast, and every other day things are getting new created. I've seen a startup coming in with an idea stage and selling, hey, I have this fantastic idea and I'm going to do it. Then I could kind of refer that, no, there are 3 guys already working on it, right? So it's very important that you always just kind of look around and make sure that you have the competition part covered. So what is the strategy deal with the competition as well? So okay, so it looks like there's some technical issues, and I was told that the slides are not moving. Okay, so we need to figure that out. Just bear us. Okay, so we have some technical difficulties with full screen mode. So we are going to go in probably editable mode. Hope you can read this. Okay, good. So we're talking about the competition then. So if the competition is if the competition is already there, then you're trying to figure out how you are going to deal with the competition. Sorry for the break, and we had some technical issues, so hope these things are okay now. Good. So then, if there's any market validation, as I mentioned, right, some of the social side, it's very easy to get the traction the moment you get something on out there, right? So how quickly you're able to get the validation done. And it's very, very important when you do this market validation, you're going beyond your friends and family, right? So there has to be somebody willing to pay, and if you even try to get somebody buying your product, that'll be really, really awesome. So you got to be the market validation. It's a very key, and many times this is people get kind of misguided by this normer about, oh, I talked to the so and so and he was so excited about this particular product. That's not going to cut it, right? And when writing a check, many people are going to shy away. So it's very important, if you have kind of validation done, you're going to make sure that somebody is paying. So if somebody is paying customers, and all the bets are off, because you are able to convince in the market somebody who is willing to pay for the value proposition you are adding, right? So that's a very, very key aspect of it in the market side. So that's on the market. Then goes the execution, right? It's very, very important about the execution part, because in today's world, ideas are dime a dozen, right? People could think of ideas everywhere, and the information age, it's leveling the field for people to have access to information, right? If you are accessing some information, a guy sitting next door or in your next chair, so he will have access to the similar one because of the thanks to the Google and all the other websites out there. So it's come back to about, it doesn't matter when you got the idea, how you got the idea, about how well you're going to execute. So it's very important, the moment you have some thoughts, some things, do not sit and think about, what I'm going to do, just get that ball rolling. And also how you're going to execute. It's very, very important. And so, in your case of your product or service, how will you be delivering it? And then you have a pilot or a prototype, that you could show people about validating your idea. And then if you are already in a product mode, whether people are using on it and these people are paying it, right? And then you have a very good sales and marketing plan. This is a very, very key, because very early on, you may have a few people away from your friends and family circle, maybe your ex-boss or someone else, or your previous company, if you guys may be willing to buy you, but that's not good cut for you when you're going to scale, because you approach angel when you have some traction and you're going to the next level, right? Where the sales and marketing plan is very, very, very important. So you got to focus, make sure that you figured out how you're going to scale this product, and for that, the sales and marketing is very important. That's what the next part is about, is scaling up, how you're going to scale up. Why scaling up is important? Because the way the ecosystem is working, I'm sure you all had information about the entrepreneurship and different stages of companies. So you have an idea and you create a company and you validate the idea, then you get something like early stage funding, or you get angel funding. So why these angels are investing in you, right? So they are investing in you because they hope, based on your ability to deliver and your ability to execute the idea, they are giving you some funding, hoping that you will go to the market and you increase your revenue. So when seeing that, next stage, what we call it as a Series A funding, so someone else will come and fund you in a bigger way, bigger level. So at that time, the angels would exit. So that's the return for them, right? So that's a major way, getting the return. So it's very important you focus on the scale side of it, how well you're going to scale up your product, which is very important if you're approaching some of this funding. And the other major part is about your risk and then mitigation plan. I'm sure every business will have a risk, and you'll have a ton of it. That is the beauty of entrepreneurship, is that entrepreneurs are a breed who could find the risk and always figure out a way to mitigate the risk. So you have to think ahead on your risk, what may be coming across, and how well you are going to address that. That's going to show how strong you are on your execution. Right? If you come and say that I'm having a best product and it's going to sell well, guess what? It may not be, right? So that's what we are seeing more and more. If you look at Indian industry and the startup ecosystem, the majority of the percentage of people who are starting companies are coming from the tech background, right? So when you are technically very good, what happens? You are a super expert in one particular specialization, right? Whether it in your college or whether it in your office, people are going to look up to you because you are the guru on that particular technical angle. So when people are technical, so you have some kind of halo running on your head, said, hey, I figured this out, I'm a great guy. But when you become a startup, when you start creating a product, it's no longer how great technical person you are. It's about how great your product is solving somebody's problem, right? So that's a major issue that we have seen in many startups where they think that, I have like so and so years of experience, I've studied this great college and I'm great in this technology, and I believe I have something great, it's going to sell like a hot cake. But make sure that you have a reality check with the market, make sure that there is somebody out there willing to pay money to buy the product. It's no longer he's a guru that I'm going to go to him for help. It's about I'm buying something to solve my problem, right? So, or it's adding value to whatever I'm doing. So it's very important about thinking about the risk and the mitigation plan. So the next is about on the slide and the team, right? So if you take a look at the Indian Angel Network, we have around 42 investments. I personally have around 7 investments through IAN. This question always asked to me is that what is a fundamental thing you look for? It's what's the basic thing? That's what I'm talking the last 20 minutes. But if we do a common denominator of everything in all investments, the major thing is stand out is the team, right? It's very important to have an excellent team. As an entrepreneur, you may not have all the skills. So make sure that you find a good co-founders and who may be having those skills, or people who are an advisory board who can kind of help you with that kind of a skills, and things like that will definitely make a fantastic team, right? Because as an angel investor, what I'm investing on, right? I'm thinking about your market, your product, your all those things, but it's all told by you, right? So end of the day, you are the matter. And I am betting all my money on you, so the team. So my collateral, I'm not a bank that I'm not giving a secured loan against the property, right? My only collateral is the team. So how passionate this team is about, how good this team is about, how well thought out the team is. So it's very, very important to have a better team in place to make sure that you have better chance of succeeding. So it's always okay, if some people are damn good. When I mentioned that they come from a technical background, they will have a business acumen as well. So well and good, but it's nothing wrong if you are very strong in technical, finding a co-founder who could be a business savvy, right? Then you have a better skills putting both of you together and you can succeed better. So just look into ways to fill in your skill gap and bringing in a best co-founders early on which will help you to put together a fantastic company. And with a passionate team, anything is possible, right? So whatever we have said in the last 6 slides can go wrong if you have a bad team to execute all of that, right? So this is probably fundamentally a major part. Personally, I look for the team, how passionate this person is. Is it something that he has a strong belief in, or last night he got an idea and then today he just put together a deck, right? So this is very important to have. So make sure that you take care of the team and well sort out plans. I'm sure early on the startups cannot afford a very expensive folks, but today, especially right now, the ecosystem is very interesting because many people who reach their mid-career and which beyond that, if they're not able to go beyond, like if you're getting a glass ceiling, there are many people are approaching us willing to help the startups, right? For them, I think they made a little bit of money that takes care of probably their daily bills, but they're looking for challenges. So these days, for a decent stock compensation, there are quite a few people who may be ready to help you out in any of the skills gap that you may be having. So go ahead and get a best team in place, and if you have the best team, anything is possible in the world. So the numbers, it's very important. As I mentioned in earlier slides, we're going to look at how well you're going to scale. So the scalability is going to come from how well you're growing, right? So it's all about the numbers. So how well you can kind of bring in a projection. If the money comes in or if the money doesn't come in, so how well you can project and grow. Then how will you break even and the profit. So make sure that, keep in mind about the profit part of it. So end of the day, cash is the king. The cash flow, if it is maintained very well, you can build a very fantastic, good company without any funding at all, right? Even though I'm an investor, my first thing to any startup is that if you can build a business, you can have a positive cash flow without any further investments, that will be the first place you should be in. So that's the best place because you are the king in the company, you control everything. So it's about then what are the funding so far you received, and the self-investment side, make sure that early on have a proper way you are investing. I've seen startups, bringing in cash from their father and putting in a company. These days with the RBI regulation and all, cash deposits into a company is a very big no-no. So it's just going to open up. So it's, make sure that the fund you are receiving and how you're investing, you structure it properly, have some help, some CA or someone to help you out to make it proper. And then you are going to approach us for funding, right? So what this fund is, how much you're going to ask for, and what is going to be used for, right? So that is where the major part of is on the investment side. And the major one, next item is the valuation expectation. So if you in an early stage, right? So now the focus of today's discussion is around the early stage. So when you are in early stage, you have to think very hard about your valuation expectation, because if you have a very high valuation expectation on an early stage, then you put off the next level of funding, right? Because if you're getting in an angel investment on a particular valuation, then it has to be more, right, when you're going for next level of funding. So that would deter the further level of funding. At the same time, if you have a very less valuation, then you're going to give away too much of the equity, in the initial stages. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword, so you have to think about it. That's why whenever you look for a fund, make sure that you can at least live with the fund for at least 2 years, right? So that you can grow the business, reach a decent size, so that the next level of funding is easier from the valuation perspective, right? And about the exit. So I alluded about this a little earlier as well. So if I'm an angel investor, I'm putting money in a company, so I'm looking at a return, right? So how you're going to bring me a return? Through exit. Most of the time it's through exit from the early stage. It could be somebody buying you, or some other Series A, Series B investors coming in, buying my stake from the company. So these are all the exit options for the investors. as well as you also start thinking about yourself as well and your team also. We are from India. We are very superstitious about exit. Oh, the day I open the company, should I be thinking about closing? It's not about closing. You're going to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And end of the day, if things are not working out, it's not working out. Just don't sit there and worry about. Just move on, right? So it's very important to think in the exit as well to see how you're going to take care of yourself, your team, and also your investors. So that's going to show that you have a well thought out process and you are providing a value add to every stakeholder in the process of exit. So that pretty much covers what I want to cover in this 30 minutes. So I thought we could start the question and answer. Sneha?
We'll start with the Q&A now. Our first question is from Ram Krishna Samaria. He says, we are willing to empower rural youth by providing market-oriented skill and finding new opportunities in their own to take startups. We want your guidance for this, and what will be the key points to take care of?
So I think in a short, looks like it's a skill development in a rural area, which is a very important subject these days because the government has pushed about the national skill development as well. And there are action going around in the impact space as well. So I think the major focus is about how you are going to create an impact in their lives, right? So if it is in a rural area, then find out what skill addition will result in a better employment or better livelihood for them, right? So, and also figuring it out where they have to be solving the problem. So for example, if you're in a remote village in Bihar and if you're going to train them about IT space, are you going to provide them kind of helping them to get a job in Bangalore or somewhere, right? Because some of the IT jobs may not be in that remote village. So you have to make sure that where this target is going to be, right? Whether you create a skill expertise for them which can be absorbed by the local economy, or these people have to move out to find a job. So the job proportion is very important. So if you have some kind of extended version or probably a tie-up with partners who could provide that, which will be making this very more attractive. So yeah, next question.
Next question is, apart from IAN or Mumbai Angels, how does one connect with other angel investors?
Same.
How will people connect to other angel investors other than IAN and Mumbai Angels?
Okay, so I think there are quite a few angel groups out there, and you can always you could Google. You will find those angel networks in India. You will have a bunch of lists. Many people are providing it, and also there are groups where people discuss about even not only some of the syndicated network, right? If you look at Mumbai Angels and IAN, some are established syndicated networks, and some are getting started up as well. I heard about Innovation Angels and then Harvard Angels. So there are sites which is helping the startup ecosystem. If you look at probably Plugged In or NASCAM has a Emerge forum, and some of these guys have a list figured out and they're publishing here and there. But you're right. I don't think there is this one place where all the angel list things are listed out. But there are, if you Google, I'm sure you will find out. But specific sites that's targeting the startup, I think what Avinash is running is Product Nation, and this Ashish Plugged In, then NASCAM Emerge Forum. These are the quite a few areas where some of these things are discussed. But off of my head, apart from IAN and Mumbai Angels, there's a Harvard Angels, and there is the Innovation Angels, and these are all the major ones that I could think of. Then apart from that, there are very early stage, quite a few players are there in the very early stage funding. So that you can always Google up for angel investment and you can find out people. If you could probably email me, I can just dig up some names and I could email you as well. Next
And
question, Sneha.
our next question is from Ankit Garg. He asked, what extra pointers are there for process-oriented services company looking for funding?
So process-oriented, I guess it's going to be like a BPM kind of a thing. See, if you ask me, frankly, today we encourage more and more in the IP creation of it, right? Services had a place in the market the last 10, 15 years. Services what brought us what we are today as an industry, as a country. But I think moving forward, I would recommend every entrepreneur looking into IP creation, right? So that's what going to be creating a more value for your company. And if you are into services, as I always said, that there is room for anything if you're bringing something innovative, right? So look at a very niche area, right? So today, if you say I'm a services company and I'm going to cater everything around the world, that's not going to help you. So today the market has matured in the services industry, and you have to be very, very, very niche. So the advantage of being niche is that you have people playing in the market will treat you as a partner because you have a deeper knowledge in particular niche the other person may not have. So you can reach the market easier because many people could be your partners, and also you are a good target for people buying as well. It's a good potential for you to get a decent exit, and if you're focusing on a niche. It's a very important thing is niche. I always joke about the niche with the way the restaurant industry in Bangalore, right? If you ask somebody that give me a great Bangalore food, right? If they point you to a particular restaurant, you go there, first 2 pages you'll see all neer dosa and all, right? The 3rd page will be Chinese. So that is where we should not be, because those were the days. Yes, you got to probably cover every areas to be surviving. But today's market conditions such that you can be a niche player, and you got to be damn good in that niche, and the market is very wide open. So the short answer is be very niche. Next question, Sneha.
And next question is from Balaji Mani. He says that they are an ICT company from Coimbatore and they have 2 products in open source and a few paying customers, and they need money to expand further. So are they eligible to get funding?
That's right. Yes, the paying customer is a good thing. Yes, you should approach if you definitely need a funding and you have a product and people are paying. It's good, and you are in the open source space. And then see, is there any IP also you could build around that? Because there are quite a few opportunities around IP in the open space as well. I've seen 2-3 startups working in the space and coming with the fantastic ideas, all using open source products. So definitely, yes, you should approach.
Our next question is from Neeraj Bhatia. He says, we are interested in startup related to hotel reviews based on customer generated content. What your views are about the future on this niche business segment? And are you bullish on OTA more as compared to review based websites?
Okay, good. So this space, the restaurant and hotel reviews, it's getting a bit crowded now. I think there are quite a few players already there, and they're providing value added as well. So not only the review, and then you can book a table and things like that. So we had an exit. There is a company called Hungry Bangalore, an invested company. So it got bought out by Just Eat. So they were providing online booking services, but as long as if you have a very unique proposition, definitely you have a chance. But take a look at the competition, and there are quite a few of them, and many are very, very well established, and they are getting good partners. Like for example, some of these guys like Just Eating, they have a partner with some of the review-based organization, so they're already feeding in data back and forth. So look into partnering and look into where there is a gap and where you could add a very, very unique proposition in the space, then it's possible. But bear in mind that you are entering a crowded space which is already dominated by very decent players, and see if you have anything in your arm, under your sleeve to go attack them. Good. Next question, Sneha.
Next question is from Aritra Kundu. We are a business media and research startup, and we've seen that generally the angel investors are leaning towards technology startups. How much of these angel investors in India are interested in putting money in a research work of a postdoc or any researchers?
You touched a very interesting point. So the trending now, right? If you look at most of the startup ecosystem today, where it's there, it's very unfortunate to see. So I see only two trends, right? One is in the technology space is about I am this of India, right? I'm an Amazon of India. I'm Yahoo of India. So it's like taking a US idea and then put together a India version of it, a jugaad of India, right? The second is about applying technology to solve local problems. So these are the two major trending things what we are seeing, and very interruptions, right? Disruptive ideas, disruptive innovations are very less. So that's a very good question this person is asking. That's what I want many of these entrepreneurs to think about, right? The other day I was giving an interview to one of the magazine. In that I was telling that all the entrepreneurs just please stop reading TechCrunch, right? Because many of the startups I'm hearing is that this TechCrunch in the Valley, this particular company got funded for this much. So I have a similar idea. So this is good. So please let's move away from that space and look into something very disruptive, very innovative. So this person could approach our incubation. So we have around 25 companies which are getting incubated, and there the only criteria is it has to be an IP based, right? There are a few examples. There is a guy revolutionizing security. He's getting incubated. There is a person revolutionizing about the way the electricity will be produced. Things like that. There are very interesting proposals that we are incubating. Definitely this person should approach us for the incubation opportunity. We'll look into it.
Thank you, Naga. There's another question from Pritesh Arte. He says, if a team is not powerful, but idea is very much innovative, can angel invest in that? And to the same question, there's another question who says that I am the founder and have a small team in my company, but no co-founders. Can I still submit my plan to the angels or the Iron Network?
Oh yeah. It doesn't matter. You have to have a co-founder. You can pull this off. You are the man. Why not, right? All the successful companies, not everyone has a co-founder. I made a point where if you have a skill gap, then you look for. But otherwise, not a problem. Please, if you have traction, market decent, and just please approach us. I don't think we are going to look for a co-founder in the team. So if it is just a person, not a problem. The earlier question is about, can you repeat the first question?
The question is that they don't have a powerful team, but they have a very innovative idea.
Oh, okay.
Can they still submit their idea?
So, yes. So this works. So they may not just look at the idea alone, right? So if you look at the 6-7 slides I put, so if you're able to address some of those, right? You have an idea, but what stage you are in? Is this an ideation stage? You thought about it last few years or a few weeks, or you moved ahead with some of these as an individual person or with the team. So you're saying that you don't have a team, so I assume that you alone might have done something. So if you have that, definitely you can approach that, and it's based on the stage, right? So if in a very early stage, we can see if there is for an incubation opportunity out there, or we can look into helping with the incubation side. And if you're in a later stage, then we can do angel investing. So just don't come with just one-line idea, but look at some of the things I mentioned in the thing. If you have some of those also addressed, even if you don't have a team, that should be okay. Next, Neha.
Our next question is from Mr. Amit Arora, and he says it's regarding the valuation of a company, and shall we consider valuation as 3 or 4, 5 times the revenue of the company, or anything else need to be calculated?
Yeah, so it depends on the space you are in. You know, if you have IP-based companies, then there is, you can look into some of that also added into the valuation. If you are on the services side, 4-5x on the revenue is a big no. I'm sure, you know, if you get 2x, and also it depends on some other parameters as well. Like for example, right? So you may not have a major revenue right now, but you are disrupting a industry, right? So you have a huge potential, or you have something that you could be a potential target, you know, for a particular MNC in a year because you're addressing a particular gap. So there are many other variables also goes along with the revenue. Yes, revenue is one of the areas that get looked into, but very early stage, what would you do with the revenue, right? Some of the early stage revenue, you know, somebody may be having, you know, 25 lakhs revenue, right? So what would you get for that? So it depends on many other variables as well. So that it's as a case by case. We cannot just put a formula to it. And if it's a mature company, yes, you know, you can do X on revenue, X on EBITDA, and things like that. But very early stage, that is one of the parameters considered. But innovation, your IP potential, and the disruption, and how quickly you can get an acquisition target, how quickly you can, you know, kind of attract a Series A. So all those parameters plays into the evaluation as well. Yeah. Next question, say.
Next question is from Mr. Ravindra Padmanabhan. He says if a firm is working on a niche product along with a managed services around the product, will it attract angels?
Yes, that should be good. That should be fine. But make sure that you have this product focus is more, and the services is probably like an AMC, right? Support services, or you're providing the majority revenue is going to come from your product side of it, because when you look at your revenue split, if your revenue is going to be very high on your services company, then you know your product is not adding much thing to it, right? So you don't have a bigger IP play. You are becoming more and more a services play. But if this product is something it's helping you to get into services, then you're like a pure services play, right? But its product is huge enough, it's very tough for the customer to manage or something like that, then you're adding services as a kind of any big enterprises companies would need services. If that is an angle, it's okay. But just make sure that you don't fall into a trap. Some cases what happens is that people say that I'm selling the product, but I can get a services very quick. It's very true. You can get a services contract pretty quick, and it'll be very luring as well. But just stop the urge to get into a bigger on the services side. Then you'll be becoming another, in Bangalore alone, we are around 2,700 services companies. You'll be +1, right? So the next decade, India doesn't need much services company. We should be focusing about products. We want to create a next Microsoft out of India, right? So that should be the goal. That should be the thinking for all of you. Next, Neha.
Now the last two questions. One question is from Ankur. He says, why do you say that a service industry should be valued as 2x and not 4x to 5x?
Yeah, so it's depend again. If you are a very niche and if you're solving a very interesting problems and the value proportion is very high, definitely you can look for a major proportion. But if you are a services that there are another 100 people providing a similar level, then I don't think there is a differentiation play, and it may not be attracting a bigger valuation. You're right. I think if you are able to differentiate and have a very niche, you are probably out of 5 service company in the world that could do that thing. You can demand a premium. But your next door guys could do that, $20 less than you. Then why would somebody look for it? And then also your growth potential, right? So you're offering something and you're able to grow fantastic in the last 2-3 years, then definitely, right? So there is a potential. But if you're a company started like 5 years back and you're struggling to grow, and then you are a kind of Me Too services player, then it's going to affect your valuation. You're right. I don't think cannot put just one formula, but I just gave you an example. Okay.
Last question of the day. Yeah, this is the last question of the day. It's from Pritesh Arte, and he asked, what is interest rate angle charge and what amount of share they ask at exit time?
What is the interest one?
What is the interest angel charge and what amount of share they ask at the exit time?
Oh, okay. So we don't do debt funding. So it's now mostly equity. So all the 42 investment that we have done, it's all equity funding. So equity is just, we evaluate your company at some value, then you sell a percentage of that stake to that angel investor. So the angel investor is buying a portion of your company. So when we exit, the valuation get increased because you might have grown bigger and things like that. So when I exit, the share I bought, the portion of the company I bought is valued more, right? So that's my return. So the debt funding is another angle. It's starting these days, but today most of the angels doesn't provide the debt funding. The debt industry is pretty much covered by government agencies like your SIDBI is providing a lot of debt funding, and then there are probably state governments have their own, like in Karnataka we have Kitwin and things like that. They all have the debt funding available. So far the angels have not done many on the debt, but I'm seeing here and there some some activity around debt as well, because many of the angels are getting into impact investments, so where the exits are different level. So there is a consideration around debt as well, but it's not prevalent yet. I hope that answered the question, Sneha.
Yeah, just the last question somebody sent.
Sure.
Are you optimistic to invest in politics management research in India?
Politics management research. Definitely, anything that, so India has a huge potential, right? There are a lot of problems to be solved. And if somebody is providing or coming up with a very, very interesting solution for these problems, definitely, that would be considered, right? So, but make sure that you're creating something really compelling, and not just look at the competition out there, what is happening and things like that, and then based on that you come up with that. But and also what kind of research, I'm not sure, but definitely you could approach, just send me a note, I'll take a look at it. But we usually stay away from if it is inclined towards a particular any political organization or anything, right? So we don't want to be affiliated there. But is it a very neutral level and you're doing something from the citizen angle and things like that, definitely we could consider and look into that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Naga. That was the last question.
Thanks, Neha. Anything else?
No, thank you so much. The session is very interesting
and
informative.
Thanks a lot, everyone, and fantastic. Yes, fantastic questions. I think I put my email ID at the last slide, so feel free to send me a note, and I'll see what I could have. Thanks a lot.
All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending our webinar. Please send in your feedbacks and suggestions to eclub@nenglobal.org. Also, if you found the session interesting, feel free to blog or post about it. The recorded version of the webinar will be available on our website, eclub.nenonline.org, by the end of this week. Also, NEN is holding an entrepreneurship workshop on raising money for your startup at New Delhi on January 12th, 2013. Register today and get early bird discount. For more information, visit our website. Thank you once again and have a nice evening.